Chapter 16. It is again a strong proof of men knowing most things before birth, that when mere children they grasp innumerable facts with such speed as to show that they are not then taking them in for the first time, but remembering and recalling them. Cicero. I was momentarily confused. Pedro had walked through a door, in his mind, to another time and another place. By the movements of his eyes, I could tell that he was observing something. You will be able to talk, I told him, and yet you will be able to remain in a deep trance state and continue to observe and to experience. What do you see? I see myself, Pedro answered. I am lying in a field at night. The air is cool and clear. I see many stars. Are you alone? Yes. There's no one else around. What do you look like? I asked, looking for details in order to learn more about the time and place in which he had emerged. I'm myself. About 12 years old. My hair is short. You are yourself? I questioned, still not realizing that Pedro had merely gone back into his own childhood and not a past life. Yes, he answered simply. Back in Mexico as a boy. Now I understood, and I shifted gears, looking more for feelings. I wanted to find out why his mind had selected this particular memory from the vast panorama available to it. How do you feel? I feel very happy. There's something so peaceful about the night sky. The stars have always seemed so familiar and friendly to me. I like to pick out the constellations and watch them march across the sky as the seasons change. Do you study the stars in school? Not really, just a little bit. But I read about them on my own. Mostly I like to watch them. Does anyone else in your family enjoy watching the stars? No, he answered, only me. I subtly shifted now to appeal to his higher self or intelligence, to his expanded perspective, to learn more about the importance of this memory. I was no longer speaking to the 12-year-old Pedro. What is the importance of this memory of the night sky? I asked. Why did your mind select this particular one? He was silent for a while. His face softened in the thin afternoon light. The stars are a gift to me, he began softly. They are a comfort. They are a symphony I have heard before, refreshing my soul, reminding me of what I had forgotten. They are even more, he continued, a bit enigmatically. They are a path guiding me to my destiny. Slowly but surely. I must be patient and not get in the way. The schedule is already set. He was silent again. I let him rest as a thought crept into my mind. The night sky has been here far longer than mankind. At some level, haven't we all heard that ancient symphony? Are all of our destinies guided as well? And then another thought, very clear in its words but not at all in its meaning. I, too, must be patient and not get in the way of Pedro's destiny. This thought came to me like an instruction. It turned out to be a prophecy. As patients like Elizabeth and Pedro challenged many of my old beliefs about life and death and even about psychotherapy, I also had begun to meditate, or at least to muse, every day. In deeply relaxed states, thoughts, images, and ideas often popped suddenly into my awareness. One day a thought came with the urgency of a message. I needed to take a close look at those patients of mine who had been in therapy for a long period of time, my chronic patients. Somehow I would now see them more clearly, and this clarity of vision would also teach me more about myself. Those patients who were coming to me now for regression therapy, visualization techniques, and spiritual counseling were doing extremely well. But what about this other population of patients, many of whom were in therapy with me before my books were published? Why would I see them more clearly now? What was I to learn about myself? As it turned out, quite a lot. I had stopped being a teacher to many of these long-term patients, instead I had become a habit and a crutch. Many had become dependent on me, and instead of challenging them to be independent, I had accepted the old role. I had become dependent on them, too. They paid the bills, flattered me, made me feel indispensable to them, and reinforced the stereotype of the physician as demigod in our society. I had to face my ego. One by one I faced my fears. Security was the first. Money is neither good nor bad, and although important at times it confers no real security. I needed more faith. In order to take risks, to commit myself to right action, I had to know that I would be alright. I examined my values, what was important in my life and what was not. As I remembered and realigned my faith and values, my concerns about money and security disappeared, like a fog lifting in the sunlight. I felt very safe. I looked at my indispensability and my need to feel important. This is another illusion of the ego. We are all spiritual beings, I remembered. All of us are equal beneath our exteriors. All of us are important. My need to be special, to be loved, could only truly be met at a spiritual level, from deep within myself, from the divinity within. My family could help, but only up to a point. Certainly not my patients. I could teach them, and they could teach me. We could help each other for a while, but we could never satisfy each other's deepest needs. That quest is a spiritual one. Physicians are highly trained teachers and healers, but hardly demigods. We are just highly trained people. Physicians are spokes on the same wheel as all the other helpers in our society. People often hide behind their professional labels and facades: doctor, lawyer, senator, and so on, most of which were not even built before our 20s or 30s. We have to remember who we were before our titles were conferred. It is not only that we are all capable of becoming loving and spiritual people, people who are charitable, kind, and peaceful, filled with serenity and joy. We already are. We have just forgotten, and our egos seem to prevent us from remembering. Our vision is clouded. Our values are upside down. Many psychiatrists have talked to me about feeling trapped by their patients. They have lost the joy of helping. I remind them that they are spiritual beings, too. They are trapped by their insecurities and by their egos. They, too, need the courage to take risks and to leap into health and joy. Soulmate. This is a part of Zindagi Ki Roshni consultancy. It has been established for those who have lost someone and for those who are very sad in their life. About 100 PDF books and 20 short audio books of this topic will be sent to those who join it. This data will be sent to their email or WhatsApp. If you want to join this organization, then please send WhatsApp message to this number.